Hi everybody, thank you so much for being here, and also thank you for watching the Emily Awards. I so appreciate all the amazing feedback you've given me. I'm glad you like seeing those happen every year, and I'm really glad I was able to get those pulled off pre-baby. Like, it's such a weight off my shoulders. But what's always interesting year after year is that people seem to be as much, if not more, interested in the worst products of the year. So that's what I'm going to share with you in this video. I have put together a top 10 of the products that over the course of the past year I have tried, and they have really been the worst. They are things that I think across the board I do not see myself recommending to anyone. And I did confine it to things that, you know, I've come across in the past year. So we're not talking like all-time fails. Like, I do have a little drawer. Maybe one day we'll go through that. The drawer in my closet where I put like fails from the ages, you know, like things that are the absolute worst. And I keep them in that little drawer just to save them, just, you know, for comparison's sake, maybe if I'm doing a review. Maybe one day there will have to be a biggest fails of all time video. But for right now, you know, we're focusing on the year 2016 and what things didn't work. So again, I think they're all fails, but we're going to be working up to an ultimate worst. And at number 10, this was just a pointless product to me. Benefit launched a bunch of brow stuff. Many of the products ended up being really good. Like, I've enjoyed a couple of the different brow pencils I've tried. I think they've got a decent brow pomade, but it was like they kind of reached a point with their lineup where I thought, no, we're just putting out products for the sake of having, you know, a massive brow line. And so one of those things that I just felt was so unnecessary was this Bravo conditioning primer. Like, do I need a primer to go through my brows first? It's just this little rubbery tip, and you've got this liquid that comes out that feels like moisturizer, kind of. If such a thing was even necessary in the brows, couldn't I just like pick up any moisturizer I have and kind of go through them and lay them down? I'm not really sure what function this is serving, because it's not providing color, it's not providing hold. Do I need a brow conditioning primer? If anybody wants to make the case for me in the comments section that I need a brow conditioning primer, be my guest. But it says nutrient-rich primer for fuller looking brows. I don't think this makes the brows look fuller at all. It just makes them look wet. Number 9, such a letdown. I felt like personally let down by this product because I really like multitasking palettes. I like finding a palette where I feel like, oh my gosh, it does like 3 different things and it does them all well, and you know, this is such a gem. And I remember around the time frame that I had tried this particular item, I had been enjoying the Charlotte Tilbury Instant Look in a palette, and I thought, oh, this is Revlon's answer to that type of a product. And so they put out these eyes, cheeks, and lips palettes. I'm holding up probably my least favorite, which is called Berry in Love, but they also have a nude and a smoky. The smoky, you know, basically the darker you go with these, the more chance you have of getting a little more color off of them, but it's a real, like, just lack of pigmentation across the board. The blushes in all of these, it was like they're barely there. Like, you can hardly see them. The shadows were extremely hit and miss. And then, of course, something that frustrates me, and I'm sure many of you as well, is when, you know, you got lip products kind of scattered in there and not really protected from the powders in any way. I believe when I bought them, they were hovering around the $20 mark. The price tag was way too high for the low quality that I felt like they were packing into these. And yeah, if you go for your deepest, darkest shadow, you'll see something. You know, this is why this is not the absolute worst product I'm going to mention today, but I really thought Revlon could have done better, and I was just so hoping to see like a drugstore palette come out that could do all the different things and do them well and be a nice alternative for those who didn't want to spend the astronomical price tag for a Charlotte Tilbury Instant Look in a palette. But it just, sadly, it didn't go there for me. Didn't work. Number 8 on my lineup of products that didn't work would be this NYX Cream Highlight and Contour Palette. The stiffness of these creams, they're just so hard to work with. There are a lot of nice cream contouring things out there. E.l.f. has some good cream contour. The mascara line, Mascara, you know, the blogger, she's got these great palettes that are such a nice, rich, creamy texture. I feel like I've tried a lot of cream contour things. This NYX one, to look at it, which I'm holding here in the shade Light, it looks like they should be workable tones, but it just, they're so stiff. I'm pretty much always going to be applying this stuff over a foundation, so it needs to be like silky. It needs to be something that I can blend across the skin with very little effort. So that sadly is not what this product was. Number 7 on my list of duds. I'm sorry, the Naked Illuminated Trio. I feel like this is maybe the third or fourth time I've mentioned this as being a highlight palette that I just could not get on board with. They look like these baked, kind of domed up highlights, and all I see when I open up this box is the glittery fallout that's surrounding everything. I've said it before, I'll say it again. The market is flooded with highlights right now. It's all about, you know, glowy products. Every brand is put out something. This thing just can't hang with them. Some of this, yes, is my personal preference. I'm not one who likes glittery highlights, and that's what these are. The one that's least glittery and seems to have the most actual pigment to it is kind of like a deeper gold, which maybe might be an okay eyeshadow, but that doesn't really serve to highlight my skin tone very well. It's just one of those things that came out around the holidays, and it could really, you know, intrigue some people if you saw it online, but I think most anybody who would walk past a display, see it in person, touch it, you'd think, gosh, those feel really dry, number one. And number two, there's so much like glittery filler in these. At number 6, I kind of have two products that I want to discuss in one, just so I could keep this a top 10. You know, I'm putting two of them together. Same brand, I bought them at the same time, and they just both didn't work. They're from Physicians Formula. These are from their Eye Booster line, which that is a specific area of their brand where they happen to make a product I love, that Eye Booster pen. You know, the pen format liner that actually has a nice little super tapered brush tip, really great across the upper lash line, nearly made it into my Emily Awards for Eyes this year. That product's amazing. These newer things that they came out with, they got on board the cushion train and they put out this 2-in-1 lash boosting cushion eyeliner plus serum, and then they also have this liner, which is another sort of pen style. I'll talk about that in a second, but the cushion, this was something, the first time I used it, I thought, yes, you know, they're onto something here. This is really cool for having the cushion there, and then when you put your little brush, which comes out of the top, into it, you don't get any excess product on your brush. You know, you just load up with what you need and then you can go across. Well, I was just astonished with how quickly this thing dried out. There's just not enough juice in the cushion. I mean, I talked about this in a video where I was reviewing some new stuff, and I believe it was by like the third or fourth use, it was too dry to like make it across my lash line. So that was not cool. And then a pet peeve of mine is when all these brands are trying to come up with these gimmicky felt tip liners, and they're shaping the felt tip in some weird way that doesn't make it any easier for any of us. Look at this tip. Do we need this? Like, really, do we need this lumpy, bumpy tip? When I use one of these pen style products, or really when I use any type of liquid liner, maybe a very traditional one like the Jordana Color Envy, I am generally not working straight off the tip. You know, I'm kind of laying it a little bit sideways as I go. You lay this one sideways, you can figure out what you're gonna get there. You're going to get a little bit of a stamp of this ridge. They've got a little place for your thumbprint here. You know, they're trying to make it like it's an ergonomically designed eyeliner. It's fine to hold on to, but let's just make it one straight tip. I feel like I've seen so many messed up tips that brands are coming out with, primarily these drugstore brands, putting out these weird felt tip liners, and really what you want is just something that's going to be tapered, you know, nicely pointed. Number 5 on my countdown of worst products, e.l.f. came out with some things that seem to be like their take on nude sticks. The products, the pencils that came in little tins, and some of them worked out. I think the lip stuff that they put out in that format was decent. They had like some eye colors, like jumbo shadow stick type things that were okay. But the stuff for face, I'm really at a loss for how to make this work, because they've got like a contour stick, for example. One side says matte, one says shimmer. The matte side is like a very warm, bronzery looking shade. And then the shimmer is a full-on gold. Neither of these shades blend. If it's something that you're going to be streaking across your face, you're going to be so frustrated, because odds are, like I've said before, you might be putting that over some foundation, and when you gotta blend like heck to get that smoothed into your complexion and make it no longer look like a tiny, you know, pencil mark, it's just not a good situation. So yes, again, there is your streak of the contour, and this is indeed marketed as a contour type product. And then your highlight right beside it is a total gold. Look, even as I'm trying to rub it away on my hand, like I can't get that line to go away. It's so frustrating. At number 4, we've got the classic cheap concealer stick. This is from LA Colors, and I went back through some of the dollar store like failed products. I did a big video reviewing just a whole bunch of super cheap stuff, and one of the things I tried was an LA Colors concealer stick. I have it here in the shade Light, and it is just the stereotypical dry concealer stick. You know, there are a lot of brands who have put out really nice creamy concealer sticks. There's a lot of workable stuff out there, but this one is just like everything that you might expect out of a cheap concealer. As I wave it around here, the fragrance is really getting to me. It's a floral. It's an old floral. It's so dry. I mean, if you're thinking about buying a stick concealer like this, putting it up on your under eye area, I hope you got a lot of facial oils to like mix in with this and thin it out and make it somewhat workable. But bottom line, it's thick, cakey, dry, and smells like old flowers. Coming in at number 3, we've got a lip product here. It's from LA Colors again, and this was one of their little $1 things. A new thing they did this year, at least in my Family Dollar store, I think, was they had a display of all kinds of little things for $1, and one of them was this Pout lip gloss, the matte version. So they're taking their stab at matte liquid lipsticks. Fine, this color looks gorgeous. Color is called Let's Kiss. I have multiple colors that I've also tried. There's actually a nice little applicator on it too, flattened out doe foot, nicely cleaned off along the edges. It's kind of setting up to give you some hope, right? You're thinking maybe this could work. The issue I have here, and it might frustrate me even more than the liquid lipsticks that just get super duper dry and offer no moisture to your lips. What might be a little more frustrating than that is the liquid lipstick that stays really, really sticky. And I'm talking like you put your lips together, and I'll have to link to my dollar store video because I actually showed this, trying to press my lips together, pull them apart, and you could just see the skin of my lips sticking together. That is so annoying. Like, you can't forget that this is on your lips because it's just like sticky and thick and heavy. Number 2 on my list would be the worst sponge. I was looking through all of my beauty blender type sponges, and I thought, what is the one that I really just cannot find a purpose for whatsoever? There are a lot of not so good ones that have come out. I do have a top 5, bottom 5 video on blender sponges, but perhaps the least useful ones that I own are these little guys from Up and Up, and I'll give it to them. They're cute. Here's what you do. You decorate a cake for your, makeup obsessed friend, and you could use these little beauty blenders as like a little bit of a decorative item, maybe. That's the best use I've thought of so far for these, because you add water to these, they don't expand, they stay really, really hard and stiff. And for as small as they are, they're not serving any function for you. And I remember seeing these at Target, and I was so excited because it was like the first micro mini potentially dupe that I was seeing out in a store. So I was so pumped, and then I got them home and I was like, oh man, these just don't do anything. The number 1 product that I can't stand out of this top 10, and I think this is the first time I've talked about it, Dr. Lip Bangs, 100% natural, Lip Freak. Freak your lips out. The strongest buzzing lip balm in the whole world is what they call this. The flavor or shade, yeah, it's just a flavor, I guess, that I have here is called Cinnamint, S-I-N-O mint. Has a very strong cinnamon-ish smell, but you can tell something else is in there. I gotta give this product credit, I guess. It does do what it says. It makes your lips feel like they're like vibrating, like there's a teeny tiny motor in your lips and they're going like buzz. No big deal, we just got a car alarm going off downstairs. I'm sure there's nothing to that. This, to me, I mean, I think this is the most uncomfortable lip product ever. Like, it's a slow progression. At least on me, that's what I noticed. I put it on, I instantly think, okay, decent feeling lip balm, and then we go into a slight tingle, a little bit of a burn, and then it gives way, like, over the course of, I would say, 10 minutes, into a full-on, like I need to check in the mirror and make sure my lips aren't actually moving. It's just like a weird sort of vibration. I've never tried anything like it. It is not enjoyable to me at all. It will fade after 20 minutes or so. I knew this would be in my fails video. It's just kind of a matter of where, but as I looked at absolutely everything that I laid out here, I thought this is the only thing that really causes pain and discomfort. The other products might look bad or might be pointless or might just, you know, whatever I've said about them, but this one, I just really, like, I don't want to pick it up at all. And now I'm feeling kind of bad because there might be a type of person out there who loves a product called Lip Freak, Freak Your Lips Out, the strongest buzzing lip balm in the whole world, but it's not for me. I just can't handle it. I cannot handle the tingle, the burning, the buzzing. I can't keep up, like, what is happening with my lips. So that is my top 10 worst of the year, the products that I just could not get on board with this year. Thank you guys so much for taking time to watch, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.